Sorry about language. Hey, turn that off. Somebody could have drowned. How you doing, folks? This is your Fatic Immediate Post. Rangers have just won their second straight Old Firm game, scoring 3 goals in an Old Firm match for the third consecutive time. Each of them at 3 different stadiums. Scored 3 against them at Hampden, scored 3 against, and that was December. Scored 3 against them at Ibrox in January, and in mid-March we have scored 3 against them at Parkhead. This means Brendan Rodgers has lost his second straight Old Firm derby to an interim manager after losing the previous one to a sacked manager. Celtic have won once over 90 minutes or even 120 minutes in the 4 Old Firm derbies this season. Celtic's first home domestic defeat of the season, meaning it's only Rangers and Bayern Munich that have won at Parkhead. Bayern Munich and Rangers Reaction Pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Check out Gersnet, the flagship show, the marquee show, 9:30 tonight, Sunday the 16th of March. It's going to be Craig, it's going to be Stuart. I don't know if anybody else is joining them, and everybody will be welcome to join them. I'm sure there'll be plenty of volunteers as well, and it's well earned, well deserved to go on there and talk about Rangers winning at Parkhead, which is something I don't even know if it's happened in the internet days, really. It feels that it's been so long. I'm sponsored by Gersnet, and I'm also sponsored by Rhythm Partisan's new album. Cracking group, Rhythm Partisan from Glasgow. They've got a new album out, Last Orders in Purgatory. You can get that on Amazon, you can get it on Apple, all the other kind of streaming platforms. I've been to a Rhythm Partisan gig. Where was it? Nice and Sleazy, I think it was. Fantastic. But now, maybe it's not the best thing for them publicity-wise, for them to be advertised on a rabidly schadenfreudish, kind of triumphant Rangers pod after a win at Parkhead. But it's one very good Blue Nose, one very good Celtic man. It's a 50-50 split. 2 utterly fantastic musicians, and there's a whole, ecosystem of kind of friends and other musicians and creative types helping them out there. But 2 cracking boys there. So Last Orders in Purgatory, get on, find that. That's Rhythm Partisan, one of my favourite bands. My name's Alec Anderson. I was on the outside when you said you needed me. I was looking at myself, I was blind, I could not see. What? And I'm coming to you after Rangers have beaten Celtic by 3-2 at Parkhead in today's SPFL Premiership Old Firm derby. Barry Ferguson, and becoming the first Rangers manager to win his first Old Firm derby at Parkhead since Walter Smith, 1991. 2 goals for Mark Hateley. Those other 2 goals for Mark Hateley against Aberdeen at the end of the previous season at Ibrox had saved Walter Smith's nascent managerial career, and it showed just how good that was for Rangers with his first visit to Parkhead as a manager. Mark Hateley taking the entire Celtic defence into the back of the net with him for that first goal. Fantastic. And in so doing, Barry has closed the gap on Celtic. A 6-pointer today, closed the gap on Celtic at the top of the table. We won't bother about the total points differential involved there, because we don't want to get caught up in the long-term stuff. We don't want to get into all that. We want to just look at the details of the match itself. But it's a 6-pointer. It's vital. The league title race goes on a little bit longer, because Rangers have won at Parkhead for the first time in 4.5 years. Okay, just do it. Don't have to waffle. Don't have to, take wee trips down memory lane or talk about stuff. We don't have to get rid of anybody. Anybody who wants to be here is more than entitled to be here. Let's get straight into it. The teams today. The big news was there wasn't any real big news, was there? Obviously, there's some sort of news going on with Hefty. Hefty, it was the only player who started on Thursday night against Fenerbahce at Ibrox who wasn't starting today. Barry telling us in the press conference, Friday, the pre-match presser on Friday. It's been such a hectic few days, and that was everybody that's always getting asked. He was getting asked it before the game today. Is this team going to be knackered? You went to extra time and penalties against Fenerbahce on Thursday night. An epic tie. Is this team going to be knackered? No, absolutely not. They shouldn't have been knackered. Sports scientists, They've got dietitians in there. They get looked after really well. They're top athletes. There's no excuses. Anybody tells me they're feeling tired, they're getting dropped. They're not going to be in my team, says Barry. Old school, loving it. It absolutely worked. And so it proved. What I was hoping for, and then the Fat Ek pre-match preview pod, whatever the hell it is I did, I was saying I wanted it to be the same team. I wanted it to be the same formation. And it pretty much was. There's slight variations. The one change was Hefty was dropped at left back. A personal issue, says Barry. It was a personal issue, and this meant we'd Red Van Yilmaz, who come on to play kind of right wing back, and he's been doing that quite frequently of late. He comes on and he starts in his natural position of left back, and that proved to be crucial. We Red Van going like a wee man driving a Red Van down that fucking left hand side of that park. But we Red Van come on today instead of, and I don't know if the personal issue was Barry saying you should have fucking got that boy, by the way, for the to Hefty for the second goal Fenerbahce scored the other night. I was quite happy to see Hefty at least making a tackle, getting caught out on a goal that we concede is his fault, as opposed to just standing stock still and watching the ball getting past him, as he did, for example, against Motherwell in Barry's first home game as Rangers manager. I don't know, maybe the personal issue has been a fallout, or it's an actual personal issue. Obviously, his family will probably be in Brazil, or maybe he's got people still in Cyprus or something like that. Hefty. He's moved it out. A young fella, very, very far from home. So I hope everyone's okay there. I wouldn't have been bothered at all if Hefty had started. You're getting too excited, get into details here, mate, move on. Everybody knows that Hefty wasn't playing. I'm not telling you, and he didn't know. But Tavernier, you think Tav's going to be playing at centre half again, but no, Tav actually went to play a kind of right wing back, and we had Dujon Sterling coming in, and he played the right centre half role instead of Tav, and that again was also to be absolutely crucial. Was it a 3-5-2? Was it a 3-4-1-2? I don't really. I mean, perhaps Diomande pushing up, because you get Connor Barron and Nico Raskin and Diomande, just three young terriers who will run about all day and cause all sorts of damage. Just let the Waynes run loose, is one of the big, kind of soft play areas, and just throwing themselves all over the place, going absolutely mental, totally out of control, and just doing the absolute bizzle for Rangers, while the big kind of stolid centre halves watch them freaking out in the midfield area and causing absolute havoc. McGregor wasn't playing for Celtic. Callum McGregor wasn't playing for Celtic, so that's a big omission for them. He's always the guy. If we can get in tap of McGregor, that stops Celtic playing. Well, he's not playing at all. That's a bonus for us, but you don't know how. Maybe they're going to bring in somebody else who'll do a different kind of job. We took centre. We got a free kick within 30 seconds. We got a corner within a minute. We had 2 throw-ins within 2 minutes. We got a second corner within the third minute. We scored within the fourth minute. It was fucking unbelievable. We had the one in the free kick, and Tav is just, he's putting in shies. He's doing throw-ins. He's doing corners. He's doing coruscating crosses. He has put in more danger into the Celtic box today, but particularly in that opening 4 minutes, than the carpet of ordnance dropped on Dresden by Bomber Harris during Bomber Harris's RAF during the Second World War. Jack Butland got an assist today. Away fans being back makes a difference. That's why I don't want Celtic fans coming back to Ibrox. Away fans being back, first time it's happened. The away team wins. It was scored at Parkhead. We scored a goal for a corner. We've scored the first goal at Parkhead. We went to Parkhead under Philip Clement, and it was 11 minutes. We had earlier this season, the first Old Firm game of the season, 11 minutes of total domination. We really went at Celtic. We went for them. This bravery, getting on the ball, taking the game to them. And well, we did it in fine style at Parkhead. The first Old Firm game of the season, just said we didn't score. And it was the 11th minute. Celtic scored an offside goal, and both teams kind of stared at each other for 4 minutes that day. And then it was the 16th minute, something Celtic scored. It was like, are you going to get a lift from that? Are we going to get a lift from that? Are we going to get a lift from the goal being disallowed? Are you going to get a lift from the fact that you cut through so easily to get that goal, even though it was ruled out offside? Oh, it's you. Celtic usually going to get a lift from it, and they went on. Celtic went on to win the game 3-0. Then we drew 3 each at Hampden over the 120 minutes, although we lost on penalties. Then we won 3-0 at Ibrox. So it's like we just turned it round really kind of quickly and almost mirror imaging the results through the course of the season. Then we go there today, and within 4 minutes, we've taken the lead. It's just this constant. We just Celtic are just try to get them. What are Rangers doing? They're coming at us. This time we got the goal. This time we got the goal for that early pressure. Raskin versus Celtic again, ghosting into the box. Ghost. You get Casper Schmeichel, the friendly ghost, but it's Nico Raskin who is starting to ghost into that box. Old Firm games. You want players who can rise to the occasion. You want character, says Barry. You want us to get aggressive. You want us to get on the ball. You want us to get a bit naughty. You want us to want to win at places that hate us in hostile environments. Nico Raskin is rising to the occasion, quite literally. But Celtic at Ibrox are 1-0 up early doors back in January. We need the second goal, and it's into the second half. It's a corner, and in goes Nico Raskin. It just jumps like twice his own height to get a flick on header to the back post, and Robin Popper puts it in. 2-0. That's the game has turned. We're going to win 3-0. The game has been sealed. The momentum has been sealed. This is the 4th minute of the game, barely. Tav's already taken his second corner. One from the jungle side, this one from the main stand side. And it goes, it's Nico Raskin. Nico Raskin just jumping. Flies like a bird. And I wish that he glides, he soars, he floats. It's my friend and me looking through her red box of memories. Faded, I'm sure, but love seems to stick in her veins, you know. I've got I was wearing my t-shirt at the time. I wasn't wearing this hoodie at the time, this old man hoodie. I wasn't wearing it during the game, and I just a t-shirt on, and half time I'm looking at my arm, and there's these massive red marks, just for the track marks with this massive red marks. I'd been given fucking up, he's up. Celebrations towards the television mean absolutely nothing. Lots of Celtic fans are really nice people, and I'm really sorry, but it's just the way it comes out. It's the heat of battle, and it's been so long, since we. And the header, Nico Raskin, he gets up like twice his own height. He's like a wee Furby, but he flies with such. And he's going to the near post, the main stand post at the Celtic end at Parkhead, and he leaps onto Tav's ball, and he flicks it. He just flicks it, and it goes right across the goal, and you just see it's in the bottom. He didn't get a check. There's none of that kind of ooh and ah, and where's that going? It's just. Nico's, it's in the net. Rangers' start to the game was so breathless that I was having trouble working out what we're doing. Going to slow down so I can work this out. I'm going to do a podcast later on. I want to try and remember what's going to. It's just to hit the far away side net, and it's rolling into the net, and we're away. The celebrations, the start is there, and it's that thing where we've had the European game on the Thursday night, and it's the I always talk about. I've always got it in my head. We need to do that thing of taking the energy, taking the match sharpness that we've got from having even penalty kicks, practically playing to midnight on Thursday. If nothing else, going into a game on Sunday, Celtic haven't played all week, we are going to be much sharper. And it was high intensity. Fenerbahce, a cracking team, a great outfit. We're playing a Jose Mourinho side. We're going toe-to-toe with them. We're fighting like hell. Fighting tooth and nail. So the match sharp. It's not like yourself. You play fives on a Thursday night, then you play again on the Sunday or something like that, and you feel better than if you haven't played for a week. It's muscle memory, as they say, but oh man, the wee man, he just got up to some height. Nico Raskin, he's just got his first cap for Belgium. Up he goes, flicking. Just Derek Johnston would have been proud of that header. A phenomenal touch to the back post, and we have scored from a corner. The corner's a massive problem. What we do know is Sam Charai. I don't know who's done this, who's made the difference. Maybe it's Neil McCann, maybe it's Billy Dodds, whatever. But we get a goal from a corner because we got a goal against USG. From a corner routine, and that was the first game that Issam Charai was involved in for us. This is before Clement get the sack, and Issam Charai did not return to Belgium with them. So that's Nico Raskin up there, and he's got the flick on at the post again. But this time it's going straight on. The effect is instant. The effect of us taking the game to Celtic is absolutely instant. And Maeda is through on us almost twice. The Celtic got the ball straight over the top. He's offside once, and then I think the second time we managed to catch up with him or something like that. But it shows up that we're very high. Our centre halves are spread wide, as when you go with three at the back, which becomes a five. The idea is you're going to become a five when the fullbacks go back. But Tav is right up there, and Nico Raskin. It's on Red Van Yilmaz is it's just the wee guys. I get the wee guys mixed up, piling up that left hand side so often as well. We were going for it. It was a kind of balls out formation employed. It could be seen to be a defensive formation. because you can't go to 5 at the back, but the way we were playing it offensively, it's like the actual formation, the kind of mental security of knowing we'll go to a 5 if we want, and we've got the 4 across the midfield when we need it as well. Lets you attack in an away situation better. But we had the same formation, obviously, on Thursday night at Ibrox, and it's kind of confusing emotionally, psychologically, mentally. I think today, as it was over in Istanbul, we're at Parkhead, where we're very much the most away we will be anywhere in Scotland. That formation absolutely suited. It lets us be aggressive. It lets us gamble more because we think there's an innate security to the system itself. 8th minute, Jack Butland has a great save up to his right-hand side from Hatate. He's feeling comfy because Big John Souttar's in front of him. Celtic come back as corners, etc. But Dio and Barron and Raskin are getting in about them. They're aggressive. They're in there creating havoc. They're shutting Celtic down. They're loving the fight. They're having that 3 little snappers in midfield. Is giving us that, just it's almost like a wee wall. And this makes such a difference. We're competing. That's what Barry wants to do, compete. 16th minute, Cerny has that miss. Oh, God. Schmeichel knocks the ball out to him. He knocks it short. Schmeichel sent the ball out for I think it was one of the shies straight away that we got in the first 4 minutes. It leads to the goal. I think Schmeichel, he's not very comfortable. He's not a chance to settle. He's already been beaten. Not many teams will come at Celtic like this at Parkhead, particularly domestically. We have just created a major shock and awe operation that has completely rumbled them. They can't get settled at all. But they're coming back at us, they're attacking us, but Cerny then has a Schmeichel plays the ball straight out to him, and Cerny piles through on goal. He piles through on goal when really he should have been shooting first time, because he's the most left-footed right winger you'll ever see in your life. So he's not comfortable slotting the ball away. He also had the chance to square it to Dessers. Dessers is standing there for a good 2 or 3 seconds with practically an open goal right in front of him, an empty net right in front of him. He doesn't square it to him either, and he persists anyway. Cerny, I think did we get a corner out of it? I can't remember, but we've let them off the hook. Is that the chances? It's just Rangers have went and shot the ball straight away. They've got a goal this time, but Celtic will eventually. That'll help Celtic wake up. It'll make them sharper, quicker, and they'll come back at us. The hysteria and the hypocrisy you go through, your mental attitude. And I'm watching the game for in the house. I'm watching the game on the sofa. I should have had a straight jacket on. It was absolutely ridiculous what I was going through, but it was like, I got to get the second goal, And the minute we got the second goal, I thought that was asking for trouble as well. So I thought that's the chance. We've blown the chance. We've let them off the hook. That's going to waken them up now. We've gone 2-0 down in 3 of Barry's 4 games in charge so far before today, and the chance is there for us to go 2-0 up. How's that going to be? Fanny about 18th minute. Butland and Tav are kind of taking chances and knocking the ball a bit short around about our own goal. Celtic get the ball, but we kind of bemoan and we grind and we keep at it. We break up Celtic's flow. We're doing the dirty stuff. Balogun he gave it away earlier as well. Big Leon playing it in the left-hand side, the left-sided centre half there. John Souttar in the middle, imperious. Stephen McLean, the referee, was being, I would say, lenient rather than generous, or just letting the game flow, and that suited us. All the years of Scott Brown just telling the referee what kind of game it was going to be. Maybe Callum McGregor not being there has affected that today as well. They don't have him to tell the ref what to do, and it's imposing yourself in the game. Just the referee thinking, who's in charge here? Which one of these teams is in charge? It's Rangers. They're a big deal as well. They're a bigger deal than Celtic. Maybe, I don't know. Well, we're back in charge today. It felt like a proper Rangers in so many respects. 25th minute, it's all Rangers. Schmeichel, he has a good save. It's a good save. It's a great save for Schmeichel. Balogun from a corner. He goes to the kind of near post. He goes to the opposite corner of the box from Raskin's flick on for the goal. When Raskin headed it in, he goes to the jungle side, the corner of the 6-yard box, and heads it down. Does Big Leon, and it seems net bound. And Schmeichel has a cracking save. He's kind of unsighted by his own defenders. Cerny is hurting them, and he's also causing havoc in their box, but he's also squandering chances. A bit like Thursday for Cerny. It'll be okay though. I'll not spoil the ending, but it works out all right. Cerny is everywhere. He's given Celtic so much to think about, just like he did with Fenerbahce. His finishing might not be clinical. today of all days, but he's been clinical enough in all the games this season. He's just absolutely occupying them. 33rd minute, they're on the break, and Dessers just misses a chance to play in Cerny. Just can't quite get the ball into him in the box, but Václav wins the corner, and we're making stuff happen. And Balogun wins the header, but this time Celtic break on us. They break on us. This is around about the 34th, 35th minute, and Dujon Sterling has to take a booking deep into our half. I think it's Jota. He takes out the game. We need a goal. We need a second goal. We kind of let this become a kind of crazy game, maybe as a sending off for us straight away at this point in time. If Celtic get a quick equaliser, or certainly within the first kind of, before half time, if they get an equaliser, it's just going to be end to end. Maybe Celtic are they concentrating too much because the title's so in the bag. Rodgers certainly trying to imply that after January's stuffing at Ibrox. And maybe Rangers, well, we've got, the manager has brought out a level of performance. The new manager has brought out a certain raising on the level of performance for his team. So that's the only reason that it's back and forth. That's the only reason Rangers are able to make a game of it. But Celtic will eventually win or get a draw. At least we need a second goal to prove that we are going to dominate this game the way we started it, that we're going to get the result. But that's Celtic right through and goal. And Dujon Sterling, it looks like a really good booking at the time to take, but you worry what's going to happen. And what happened was we went 2-0 up from that kind of moment onwards, because who was it? I can't remember what one of their players it was. He sent the free kick straight out. He put it straight out, and Butland then plays it out. And it's no tidy. We don't go up the park in a kind of tidy fashion, but it's the pounce by Yilmaz. It sets up. I'm not going to say one of the greatest Rangers goals I've ever seen in my life, but one of the slickest, one of the coolest, one of the most artfully created. It was a gorgeous goal, and it comes from us working it, from us doing the dirty stuff. As Philippe Clement said, win the battles. You have to win the battle before you can play your football. And it all happened in the period of us having the corner from which Celtic broke on us. We were exposed. Jota gets fouled by Dujon Sterling, who takes the booking. And then it's just a bit more tidy for Rangers. No Sublime to start with. And it's Celtic seem to have the ball. They're working it back towards their own goal. And Yilmaz is the trap. He is the spring in the trap. He fires forward. It must be like a 30-yard sprint, at least, from his own half, just to noise them up. And it does noise them up. And they end up putting the ball straight out of play in the main stand side, Celtic. And it's that thing. It's not just that we're playing well. It's we're making Celtic feel that they don't know what they're doing either. They're surprised. They're thinking, we're a bit incompetent today. And they're not used to that domestically. Well, certainly at Parkhead anyway. And while they're kind of wobbling and dithering and thinking, what the hell's going on here? We just work. I don't know how many Rangers players get involved, but it's Yilmaz, I think, takes the shy in the left halfway at least, maybe even level, almost on a level with the Celtic 18-yard line. He takes the throw in, and I think it's Cerny is involved. I think Raskin has a touch. It ends up going back to John Souttar, and John Souttar is advanced. John Souttar is the centre of the three centre halves, and he, the central one, but he is up into the Celtic half. And it's the ball he plays out wide, John Souttar, to James Tavernier. It isn't. We've got three centre halves, so he can play the sideways pass. He's got a centre half each side of him, either side of him, John Souttar, to play the easy, safe pass and keep possession for Rangers and let us plan something out. But it's no. He gets it, he turns it over, and he walks it out to the right hand side. It's a curved ball. There's an acidity, there's a sting on the ball that John Souttar plays out to James Tavernier, but it is as nothing compared to what happens next. That thing gets floated in there by super James Tavernier, who knows how to play a ball. Just the thing of Barry putting them wide right, making sure Tav's been playing well at right-sided centre half. We're just going to vary it now. Flexibility, that's the thing. Barry's been preaching the opposite of Philippe Clement with his 4-2-3-1. Barry's varying the starting formation, and he's varying the formation within the game, and he's varying where the players... I think Clement did that as well. He varied where players were playing within games. Players would play 2 or 3 different positions. It's just the positions were always set. But he had different personnel in those positions, and he'd rotate the team, as we know, to everybody's irritation. He'd rotate the team according to the sports scientists, players that weren't fit, etc., or needed a rest, and that frustrated the hell out of people. But it's a different way of varying it from Barry, and Tav's going to play right wing back today, and he floats this ball in. does Tav, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. They isolate Carter Vickers, who I've praised enough. That's the one guy I'll say at Celtic. He plays really well. Carter Vickers, he's really good. And they've got, obviously, they've got much more than one good player. They keep winning the bloody league, so they must have more than one good player. But Carter Vickers is always the guy I notice, because he's usually the one that's stopping us having any, scoring a goal that would change the tone of Old Firm games in recent years. He's my kind of player as well, a bit heavy, a bit of a dude. He just likes a battle. My kind of centre half, should I say. But of course, my ability to curse anybody also applies to Celtic. I need to mean it. I need to genuinely mean it. I can't just go about going, Callum McGregor's absolutely amazing, in the hope that he'll get cursed. I genuinely meant Carter Vickers as a cracking player, and he's captain today for Celtic, but we isolate him by nicking the ball over the top of him in the shape of Nico Raskin, who comes in cuts in front of Carter Vickers at the edge of the Celtic box, just inside the Celtic box. Carter Vickers is about to clear it, maybe go forward and head it, I don't know, but Nico gets in there, the flying Furby, up he goes, and he nods it. A backward header at pace over Carter Vickers and lands at the feet of his best mate, Mohamed Diamandi. Yes, there's love if you want it. Don't sound like no sonnet, my lord. Yeah, there's love if you want it. Don't sound like no sonnet, my lord. My lord. The control, the touch with one foot to control it from Dio. He's about 3 yards to the right of the penalty spot, and then the other foot he sweeps it in, and it's the third way. They do it when they're people who write screenplays for TV programs, detective programs, police procedurals, dramas, detective movies, thrillers. There's the third way. There's only two options here. And there is only one option. You've got to put it away in the far corner. Sweep it away into the far corner of the net. But there's quite a lot of space between Schmeichel and his right-hand post, the main stand side post. So you could have had a go. Dio just putting it kind of middle of that space in the net. Or he could have swept it wide. He could have got too much on it and put it past the post. But the way he hits it, I've watched the replay about 20 times already. There's just something delicious. The contact is perfect in every single fucking way possible. It just sweeps straight into that spot of net, the sweetest spot possible. It goes right into the side netting. It's hitting the inside side netting, just barely kissing the post inside. It's that spot that if you hit it at the fives especially, hit the far inside of the net, you're going to score. You're 9 times out of 10 you're going to score. 10 times out of 10 that one was going the back of the net. It's a beautiful goal. The construction, the flow, the move, far better than the way I'm describing it. And it all happens in the space of, 10 seconds probably. All started from Ridvan just steaming forward and putting the shitters right up them at the back. And it ends with that just glorious flick on from the beautiful ball from Tav, the glorious flick on from Nico Raskin, and then Diamandi and it's a celebration. I love those properly mad, psyched up celebrations when you know the players are feeling it absolutely the way you feel it. I like crisscrossing celebrations. I like when the camera's like there's one guy running the same jerseys on, both celebrating the same goal, or 2 or 3 players running in different directions because they're all just completely losing their shit, and you know they are feeling it the way you feel it. They're running the same direction roughly. Diamandi and his best mate, wee Nico, and it's indiscriminate shots fired. I mean, into the Celtic end, into the Celtic main stand. It's a touch of the Ryan Kent celebrations. That time we beat them at New Year under Gerrard. This is the third time I think we've beaten them since then, or the second time after that, the third including that stuff. But it's the shooting's going on there, and Dio's got his hands over his eyes while he shoots, indiscriminate, not even caring where he's shooting. Absolutely horrendous. And Nico's giving it a wee bit of that as well. I think a wee bit of the guns, and they're running across each other, going separate ways, going absolutely nuts. It's Orwell said it was war minus the shooting, but they're doing it's slick, it's urbane, it's cultured goal. It's aggression, it's hard work, it's alertness that makes it happen. And then we've got the ability. Oh, the ability. What a team we look like when we score that goal. It's a fantastic team goal. Everything we can possibly do, everything we're wanting to do is in that goal. And we've already scored a goal from a corner as well, so that's it. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And we're going to take a 2-goal lead as opposed to going 2-0 down as we've been doing of late. The Celtic players, the Japanese players, are getting really ratty and kind of handsy as Dio lays on the ground after committing a foul, after fouling one of the Celtic players. We're getting to them. They're starting to lose it. Barry gets booked as well on the touchline. I don't know if he's just trying to join in or what. He's having a go at the referee for no booking the Celtic players who are having a go at our players. I don't think any Celtic players were booked in the course of this game, but there you go. Maybe that just shows that they weren't trying that hard, or they couldn't handle it. 43 minutes. Dujon Sterling has the clearance of the century. It's not a goal line clearance, but it's a goal bound clearance. It's a nod because on Jack Butland is doing well, but he's exposed. He's away making saves. He's throwing himself past a post or something like that, and the ball's going out. It's just taking a bounce. It's going to go into the big empty net, thinking like that's in. They've come back at it straight away, pulled a goal back before half time. It was good while it lasted, and Dujon just has one of those when you're like, it takes your breath away. Oh my God, it's not a goal. It's not a goal. You just wait. You've got it in the net already. You're just like, they've scored. No, they haven't. It's stuff like that. The spirit, the effort, fantastic. Straight after that, Jack Butland has another point blank header, 6 yards out. They have a header on goal, and Jack Butland gets it. We need to dig in. We can still be setting ourselves up for one of these glory comebacks by Celtic. They've beaten us in penalties in the League Cup final. They've pasted us earlier in the season at Parkhead. Maybe just, it's a pre-title celebration ceremonial win over Rangers, just to have a wee kind of coup de grace for them before the actual official sealing of the title. Let's let Rangers go 2-0 up, and then we'll have a comeback against them. A couple of late, 2 or 3 late goals in the second half, just to say we've beaten them all roads up, all different sorts of ways this season. We'll go and get a 1-0 at Ibrox in the final Old Firm game of the season, and that's one for the supporters. I think maybe we're just setting ourselves up here because we're going to get tired, aren't we? Second half, I don't care what Barry says. I saw the effort the players put into that game. I saw the effort that I've been exhausted since watching that game against Fenerbahce the other night. So they're going to tire in the second half. But half time, Celtic bring on Ida for Kuhn, who, of course, they had to go and find Kuhn. He was in Yilmaz's back pocket and all, but he didn't get a touch. He's a really dangerous player for Celtic, and he was completely owned by Ridvan Yilmaz. It still feels a bit like a wee setup, and it took 3 minutes. Took 3 minutes for my depression to be realised, to be proved correct. As far as I was concerned, Jota gets to the byline, puts a ball over the back post, and there's Maeda out jumping Balogun and Sterling at the back post to head it in for 6 yards. I think it was... Tav must have been... I think Tav was in there as well, getting out jumping. So we can go, fuck's sake, Tav, back post again. Just a total loser, totally letting us down. Next 6 or 7 minutes, we're wobbling. Celtic have got all the momentum. They've pulled the goal back, so within 3 minutes of the second half starting. 56 minutes, we make a substitution. It's Balogun going off, and we bring on Robin Proper. Is that a concern? I mean, Robin Proper does really well against Celtic. I think he scored against them this season. We had 4 goals on the bench today. I think it was my favourite commentator of all time, Ian Crocker. I think he pointed that out today because Danilo's got 2 goals against Celtic. Robin Proper was there, and Yanis Hadji was starting the bench as well, the man who scored the first goal against them in that 3-0 win at Ibrox. The last time we scored 3 goals against, 3 in a row, we scored 3 against. It's difficult to keep track of what ones are what. I think it was the one at Ibrox that Hadji scored the first of the 3 goals that day. They were in the bench, but off comes Robin Proper. Ayr scored against Celtic, and he's quite good in Old Firm games. He was good in the League Cup final against Celtic, and he's also good in Europe. It's almost like he needs a better quality of football. His problem is when he comes off the bench against St Mirren and Paisley. So you're a bit worried about him. And it gets to the hour mark and you suddenly realise we've not done anything at all this half. All half we've done nothing. I mean, Yilmaz is trying to spring the pounce again, but they're onto it. They're onto the Yilmaz trap where he surges forward and he's just getting taken out the game, really. He's just leaving us exposed more than winding Celtic up, and Barry's screaming at Diamandi to get in about there and break up their flow and their rhythm, and we make them a bit messy at the back again when about the 62nd minute. We have a little period where they get a bit sloppy, but it's no to any great effect for us. And 64, Maeda, I think, is their best player. He's their best player today, and he's probably their best player in general in Old Firm games. I like Carter Vickers. If I had to name a Celtic player, I would take, but that's just it. I like defenders who look like can besiege defenders. I grew up watching. I don't know, just some of the games. I just love great defences. Maybe just being it's a Rangers thing. Maybe it's the 49ers coming in defence. I'm obsessed with defenders. But Maida, it has to be said, Daizer Maida, he's been fantastic for years now against us since Postecoglou brought him over to Scotland. He's always really sharp against us. He just doesn't stop. Defence or attack, he never kind of switches off. He dispossesses Rascan and Barron. And he tees up. What's the fella like McCowan, the guy who signed for Dundee, and he just drags. This is just in our box, and McCowan drags it just past the post, just wide. It's getting bad. So Diamandi obviously hasn't had the energy to respond to what Barry's been telling him to do. We're getting kind of a bit run over. 66th minute, he goes off, and Hagi comes on, but Dio takes his time going off. He's getting pushed off. He's working it. He hates them. I mean, Diamandi absolutely hates Celtic. He hates losing to them. He loves playing against them. I'm still surprised he's not had a red card against them. It seems to be, has he? Have I forgot about that? But that's his second goal. He scored against Parkhead and Hampden. He didn't score against Mahy, but he scores against Parkhead and Hampden. He takes it to them, whatever they want to take it to us, does Mohamed Diamandi. And even in going off, he's rumbling them up. He's noising them up. He's making it difficult for them. 67th minute, Robin Propper has a tackle of kind of desperation. But it becomes, it's perfection. After we've kind of misjudged a ball across the back, he makes a tackle perfectly, but he shouldn't have had to make a kind of perfect sliding tackle. And then I think he gets a bad ball from Hagi, or did he give a bad ball to Hagi? He has to knock it straight back to him, and he has to make another kind of lunging, desperate tackle. And it's Scott Arfield, who's on co-coms today on Sky. I think he's struggling to adjust to the pace of the game, having just come in off the bench. It was not smooth. We were not looking smooth at the back at all. 72nd minute, we still haven't had a shot on goal the entire second half, but we started slowing the game down a bit. We're stopping the onslaught for a bit, but I think in slowing the pace down, we're doing that thing where we're admitting to our own tiredness, and we're slowing ourselves down as well. And it's the 74th minute. Simple give and go. Connor Barron does track Hattati into our box, but a simple give and go at the edge of our box, and Real Hattati goes running into the box, and he's just kind of basically hitting that corner, the 6-yard box. He's got the hole at the far side of the net to aim for, and he just slots it right across past Jack Butland quite easily. Basic goal. I don't mean that in an unsporting kind of, your goals were shite, and it's a goal. They work it well. It's just kind of basic from our point of view. It seems quite easily conceded. So yet again, Barry Ferguson, he hasn't gone 2-0 down in this game, but he's conceded 2 straight goals. He always concedes 2 straight goals. Only the game in, what's he had? Kilmarnock. We went 2-0 down to Kilmarnock and scored 4. Then we went 2-0 down to Motherwell. We brought it back to 2-1. We won 3-1. We scored the first goal. It was an equaliser, and we scored 2 in a row over in Istanbul. We're going 2-0 down to Fenerbahce at home, and that's how it stayed after 120 minutes. And that's us conceded 2 straight goals today. So is it 4 out of 5 games he's been in charge? We have conceded 2 straight goals. Butland saves a shot from outside the box, and he has a good save from a corner. We break from a Celtic corner, and Cerny sets up Dessers, then Connor Barron. We break from Celtic, and it's like we're through. Celtic have got a bit cocky. The crowd's going absolutely crazy for them. They're loving it. They're thinking, we're beating this mob again. It's so easy, It was just a whole setup. Just putting a twist on it. Today we're going to let them go 2-0 up, and then it's going to be a glory comeback for the Celtic at Parkhead. But then Cerny, he sets up Dessers, who totally chokes on it. Then he goes in there again, Cerny, and deep in the Celtic box, and he squares it back for Connor Barron, who's coming in at kind of the far post or the near post, the 6-yard box, and he fluffs it. So it's a choke and a fluff, and we can all start hating Cyril Dessers again. When it counts, when it really counts, when it's the first goal, and I've already had the first goal of the game, when it really counts to make us go up 3-2, well, never mind the goals. It's just, let's start hating Cyril Dessers again. There's a line in the Godfather book Mario puts, so the actual novel itself, Pulp Fiction, but it's an enjoyable read, especially, you need to see the films first, they're the true art, obviously. But it's something along the lines of, it's Vito Corleone is talking to Santino, Because Sonny wants to be a button man. He wants going to employ me as one of your button men, because he wants violence. Sonny, he wants, Sonny, don't lose that famous temper of yours, Sonny. Oh no, I'll wait. He wants violence and he wants to be a button man. And Don Corleone, his dad, Vito Corleone, grew up surrounded by violence. His own mum and dad getting killed and stuff like that. He's no unable to carry it out. He's just ultimately just wants comfort. He grew up in poverty as well. He just wants to have safety and security and comfort, and a life of crime is the only way he can go for it. But he's saying to his boy, button men are 10 a penny. It's lawyers I need. Because he's starting to live the dream. He's in America. He's in United States. They're rich compared to other normal families. They're not living in Little Italy when it was still a bit of a ghetto anymore. They're big house and what have you. And he said, I don't need button men. And they're 10 a penny. And Sonny has to tell him, well, I actually followed you. See, when you killed Finucci, during the Feast of San Gennaro, I followed you and I saw you killing Finucci. No, I mean, it's Godfather 2. You see it in the film, no, and Finucci, he's the little kind of squalid kind of boss in the neighbourhood, and he does the thing where he taps the light bulb at the top of the tenement, the top of the close outside his flat, and out steps Robert De Niro playing the young Vito Corleone to off him with the gun wrapped in the gun. The towel goes on fire. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant cinema. Well, Sonny has followed him, and in the book, Vito, so you saw me doing that, so since you were a kid, you have seen violence close up. There's no chance of me making you into a lawyer. Okay, right. I'm not going to make you a button man, but you can become. Eventually, I'll just train you up in the muscle side of the family. But during the course of that conversation, I think he says something along the lines of, he needs more lawyers than button men. Lawyers are going to do the business for him because he's trying to become legitimate. That's the big story, obviously, in Godfather. He says, a briefcase can do more damage than a gun. Briefcases do more damage for me than guns, and I don't know what it is that Issam Charai is doing, but he's got a laptop and an earpiece and a microphone, and I have a funny feeling he's doing more damage. I know he's the Morocco under-23s manager. He's obviously Moroccan heritage, but he was born in the suburbs of Antwerp. When he arrived at Rangers, I thought it must be a pal of Philip Clement, who's also born in Antwerp, but he didn't go back. And I thought, why is he not going back? And maybe he's in there. He seems deeply involved in the conversations with Barry and the rest of the team. He should be. But he's sitting there with his laptop on the bench at Parkhead, and if you get water in the laptops, that's the thing. You get it'll fuse it. So somebody needs to sort that out. Enough money down the pan at Rangers without somebody getting water out of the laptops. But I don't know if he's this swathe of substitutions. Cerny, Sterling and Barron all go off. Egeman, Clinton Enciala. I mean, just get into the den of iniquity, get into the hellhole for a Rangers player that is Parkhead. But he comes on, young Enciala, after having a terrible time of it, particularly in that game against St Mirren, getting totally out-muscled. But he comes in there, and Tom Lawrence comes on as well. We've already brought on Yanis Hadji. Maybe there are no difficult substitutions to make. Maybe that's nothing to do with a tactical genius. I want Issam Charai to be some sort of guru on the bench, a secret weapon. But to me, it seems like the momentum's still on Celtics. We're just waiting for the inevitable. A triple substitution doesn't seem to have made any difference. But that's a fourth substitution of the second half. And we get to 88th minute, the Celtic minute, isn't it? It's the Celtic minute. For these kind of games where you expect them to wrap it up. And Jack Butland launches the ball. Is that in Sharai's laptop? The goalie just launching the ball, doing it's something at the Stone Age. He just boots it long up the middle of the park. And it takes a bit. And there's Cyril Dessers, who's useless as should. I can't believe he's still in the park. We've got Egeman on there. It's Egeman or Dessers, isn't it? It's Egeman or Dessers. That's how we think. It's all binary. It shouldn't be the two of them in the park. And Dessers goes in and he jumps. He jumps like about 10 yards away from where the ball bounces. He lets the ball take a bounce and he jumps in front of it. But that goes over the top of him to Carter Vickers. It bounces over Carter Vickers as well. And then Johnston comes in, Alistair Johnston, who's great against us usually. He just falls on his arse. He just collapses under the bounce of the ball. And then Egeman gets it and he drives towards the edge of the Celtic box. And he chops inside, and somebody takes some Celtic player gets a wee touch on it, You know, and it makes the ball bounce. Egerman's still in control. It just makes the ball bounce up maybe a yard, 2 yards in the air as it bounces a yard, 2 yards inside the Celtic box, dead centre. And he hits it with his right foot. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's date has all too right into the tap fucking pokey hat corner of that net. A fucking Ramadan rocket from Hamza The Man, who then sets off on a equally laser hot, bolt, straight, perpendicular, angled, triangular run over to the top pokey hat of the pokey hole that is Parkhead, sandwiched in between, wedged in between the Lisbon Lions stand and the main stand, and up there is the Bears, a sea of red, white and blue, going absolutely mental. As next thing, Václav Cerny is down there right on top of him. He's on top of him, just celebrating. He's still got his shirt on, having just come off, having been subbed off. The players are going absolutely mental. It's a rocket. It's what a finish. It's a screamer. Egerman has arrived. That was the thing he hadn't done yet. He hadn't scored against Celtic. Well, let's have a winner. Let's have a winner. In an Old Firm derby, although it's far too early for that. 88th minute, there's going to be 200 minutes of injury time or something. It's far too early for that. You know what Celtic are like at Parkhead. Glory, glory. Hail, hail, etc. Jack Butland's got an assist. Jack Butland has gone from saving 3 penalties early. Didn't get a touch in the third one that Fenerbahce missed, but he out-vibed. He was dominating that goal at that point in time. He's got 3 saves and a shootout that's put us into the quarter-final of European competition, and he's followed it up with an assist for the winner in an Old Firm game at Parkhead for Rangers. What a goal. What a fucking hit. And even at that point, I had the low scream going on at that point. I don't know about you, I had the low, I had the yelping for the first one, the first goal. I had the full-on, just kind of macho, full-throated ease with it, the second one. And then, of course, Celtic come back at us. This one was more guttural. It was more, I'm trying to resign myself to Celtic winning this game. I'm trying to resign myself to us having given it a bit of a go, but Barry's been made a bit of a fool of, and we're going to give it. And it's just this one. It was just you could. It was taking. It was drawing the joy out of you. Admit that this has got to slash, burn, destroy. He slashed and burned and just drove that thing right into the top bin at Parkhead, and over he went to that corner of the Rangers support. But it's still time for a Celtic comeback. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a bit of injury time. There's some sort of trouble in the dugout area. The cameras briefly went to that. I think Cerny was smiling very, very guiltily, and I can only imagine the totally unprovoked, evil, sectarian Czech bile he was thrown out to the very same people, I would imagine, who would not. That's the thing, you can't. I mean, there's plenty of lovely Celtic fans, just like there's plenty of lovely Rangers fans, but we all get grouped in. It probably won't be the same people who were having a go at our supporters, victim blaming because we were basically getting dehydrated to death at a European final in Seville. It won't be the same people there that talk. But again, in another game in the Europa League where it goes to penalties, in the same region again today, another dramatic loss, a gutting loss, just it was for us in Seville, and we couldn't get any water. So Cerny's saying, well, listen, it's a gutting loss for you, and kind of a week that's been all about Europa League penalty shootouts, and it's a gutting loss for yourself. Have some water, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. 5 minutes injury time, of course there is. That's enough for them to get 2. Or remember the 1988 Scottish Cup final, the 1988 Scottish Cup semi-final as well. 88, glory, Celtic. It's the year they were formed. It's the double year. It's when they start scoring most of the goals when they're getting beat. That's enough to get 2 goals, never mind, maybe 3 goals, never mind actually securing a draw. Celtic, we're lucky if we're going to secure a draw from this goal that we've scored. Celtic are probably going to come win the thing anyway. 4-3 will be. They beat us despite us taking the lead 88th minute. No, Barry, what's he like? Just a Ned, isn't he? Just a Rangers Ned. He doesn't know what he's doing. So, I'm resigned to the utter Celtic onslaught. I don't know if we're going to survive it, but there is no Celtic onslaught. There is nothing. They've got nothing left. I think they're scared we're going to break on them again. It's going to be 4 or 5-2. They still be so traumatised in the first half. The fact that I think that was their first shot on goal in the second half, first direct shot on goal, and it wasn't on goal. It was very much in the goal, and the sweetest spot I've ever seen a Rangers shot. But there will be other ones. But I think that's kind of freaked them out, and it's taken them straight back to the PTSD of what we did to them in the first half, and they just don't come at it. They don't know what to do. They've lost all direction. They've lost all momentum. The one thing usually guaranteed for Celtic is they throw the kitchen sink at it, but I think they've been so dominant, give that to them. They've been so dominant in the last few years, got a bit cocky, and they don't know how to deal with an actual battle. The battle that Barry has been promising. Barry's celebration for the first 2 goals anyway, I can remember there was in Sky, it's when they're scored, it just turns to the Rangers fans. When they're scored into the Celtic end, the first 2 goals obviously were shooting towards the Celtic end in the first half. He just turns around to the Rangers fans and kind of walks towards them and slowly lifts the hands. And it's vindication. And it's also, I tell you, it's going to be all right. I tell you, you're getting what he wouldn't say in the press conference, which was, fuck this shit. Let's get fucked into these cunts. I'm sorry for the French. I'm sorry for the bad language. But that's basically what I think he's been kind of oozing. What's been emanating vibe-wise from Barry since that game against Fenerbahce. Got to Parkhead, I'm not even thinking about that. I've got Fenerbahce to deal with here. A European game, that's all I'm thinking about. Right, Parkhead, you've got to be knackered. Went to extra time and penalties. Well, if anybody complains they're knackered, they're dropped. You've got to go in, you've got to do the dirty stuff. You've got to win the battle. He didn't say that because he knew he'd be repeating what Philip Clement said, but that's effectively what he was saying. And he's saying you've got to be aggressive, you've got to savour it, you've got to play for Rangers, you've got to love this stuff. Not just a case of you shouldn't be scared going to Parkhead, you should revel in it. He's talking about being in the director's box when they beat us 3-0 earlier on in the season, the abuse he was taking there. How he's actually quite happy to get the dugout and take even worse. He's looking forward to it, it's going to be interesting, stuff like that. That's what the players needed to hear. He's lived it, he's got the whole club going, apparently. Everybody, all the staff, any level, are all round about Barry. Barry's got them going again. And he's just turned into the Rangers support and he's just saying, it's all right, I tell you, it's going to be okay. I used to do this stuff for a living. Celtic's onslaught amounts to something that just, you still thought, oh, here we go. Because it's like, there's only a minute to go of injury time, with the 5 minutes injury time they'll be given. I'm thinking, it might as well be an hour to go when it comes to injury time against Celtic, when we're winning at Parkhead by a single goal. And they put a ball into our box, a really dangerous looking ball, and it bounces. Somebody throws themselves to the deck trying to win a penalty for Celtic, and then it bounces up to Alistair Johnston, who's got a clear shot. Totally nobody in front of him, only Jack Butland. He's got a clear shot on goal, and he just hoofs the thing right over the bar. And you realise, I'm still thinking, oh, that's only 4 minutes, 30 seconds, but you think, by the time they retrieve that ball, they get another ball, and Butland takes it, he'll mess it, but that was it. It was done. It was over. And I didn't see the final whistle getting blown by the referee. The cameras are on Barry on the touchline. They want to see him because Barry's got that personality. Back Sky are obsessed with him. It must wind up with Celtic support or something terrible. It's time we had a bit of that. And it doesn't mean anything in terms of winning the league title or whatever, but my God, to pretend it doesn't mean anything. Aye, that was the end of the game. The first Rangers manager, to win his first Old Firm game at Parkhead since some unknown called Walter Smith, the man who put what Rangers mean into Barry's head, into his heart. I think he always knew Barry's his big brother's Derek, what have you, and he knows he's a Rangers supporter for Hamilton. He knows what it's all about. The hardest possible way, eventually, the harshest possible way, Walter had to tell Barry what Rangers were all about in terms of standards, in terms of behaviour, when he had to let him go towards the end of 2009. But if Barry never wins another game as Rangers manager, he's got this last 10 days, he's paid Walter back. He's paid us all back. Oh, Barry Ferguson. 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 Ferguson. Barry Ferguson. Barry Ferguson. Barry Ferguson. Oh, Barry Ferguson. 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 Barry Barry Ferguson, 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 Derek Ferguson, Barry 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 Ferguson, oh Barry Ferguson, Barry Ferguson, Barry Ferguson, oh Barry Ferguson, 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 oh Barry Ferguson, Barry Ferguson, oh Barry Ferguson, Barry Ferguson. I've been listening to a bit of jazz this week, has to be said, but we might take a bow to the away support, that little wedge of away supporters at Parkhead today. Barry, he walks. You notice the way he walks. It's almost like something's wrong with him. It's almost like he's got a physical impairment. He can't help walking with his chest out. It's like his brother, his big brother Derek, was saying to him all through. You get the chest out and you get your head up. You need to be able to survey the park all the time you're going to play midfield. And you need to lead. If you're going to be captain, you need to play with pride. You need to play with aggression. You need to be able to see everything that's going on. That's how he walks. And he goes up to, and it's funny how the arms up towards the Rangers support, up that wedge, that corner at Parkhead. It just it's a natural extension. His body's built for that. There's the back of the blades, kind of bumbles a bit of line along the bottom of the shoulder blades, but he's up there with the arms, and then he turns round. He's gone in front of the players, and he's just taking his wee bow, and he's turned round. And it's beautiful, and he just goes. He puts the hands out, I'm assuming it's the players. I'm assuming he's saying it's these guys. Oh, give these guys the applause, boys. These are guys and girls. Give these players the applause. They're the ones that have done the hard work today. Or is he saying? Look at the rest of the stands in this place. Look at all the other seats in this place. Look how you've massacred my boys. This is empty. You've emptied this joint. We have emptied this joint. Would you check this out? It's a lovely moment, and you've got Tav, the captain, who is brilliant today, and he's pushing Eggman. Eggman's not wanting to take the applause or whatever, but he's pushing him right forward. You have just scored a winner at Parkhead. You scored a winner for the away team in one of the biggest derbies in the world, in the history of the world. Go up there and you get your applause. You never know what's round the corner. Barry saying after the game there's still a language problem with Eggman. No jokes about him. They'll be able to understand Barry's English. So that's got to be sorted out. But maybe we feel like Clement being foreign himself or whatever. I don't know. I mean, Eggman's a tremendous player. Because he stopped scoring goals, he having to play deeper. He having to play in the 10 position and all that. Suddenly he was getting written off by a lot of fans. It's got to be everything or nothing. I don't know. But so there's something to be worked on there. There's obviously still stuff being worked on. But he's got the 2 goals at Easter Road, and he got the perfect hat trick, but it ended up as a 3 each draw. He's got the 2 goals over in Nice. He scores against Spurs. But a couple of games against Celtic, made a bad decision in the League Cup final that would have put us 2-0 up at the start of the second half, and he had a few chances. I think he had a bad decision as well in the game that we eventually won 3-0 at Ibrox, but there he's gone, and he's come off the bench to have that moment that he absolutely needs. It's 4.5 years since we won at Parkhead. We've gone from Big Connor Goldson glancing and poking them home to wee Connor Barron just biting and tearing their midfield to pieces. The late subs by Barry, a rash of substitutions, which were in no way rash. They were like a big dollop of Bonjela across the weeping sore of a potential dramatic, sickeningly romantic Celtic comeback derby win at home, which would have just felt like they'd found another way. They'd found another way to help us let ourselves down, another way to inflict pain on us. But it's a salve, it's a treat. It's a bonus, it's a blessed relief, it's a marker. It's a reminder of Uhueheog in 2007 as Walter kind of reset the tone versus Strachan after Paul Le Guen. It's just a taste, really, just a wee taste of what we did in 2001, 2002 when Barry was captain on the part under Big Eck, and he came in to win both the cups from a Neil Celtic who'd won the treble the previous season and looked like they're going to do it again, but in comes Eck halfway through the season and we win both the cups anyway, even though the two go to the league. It means Rodgers goes from one Old Firm defeat in 20 odd derbies to 3 all in, but 2 in a row. And we know half of that kind of snarling, bilious, raging hate being levelled at Barry as he went down the tunnel after the wee lap of honour at the end. It's just displacement of the rage which Schadenfreude always instantly becomes. I need to buy a piece of cake. We're going to walk this. Doesn't it happen? Fucking bastard. Somebody's got to get it. And it gets displaced onto Barry. And Rodgers got the treble in his grasp. Barry still has to teach us how to beat St Mirren and Motherwell and stuff like that. That's the real problem for us this season. Just a problem with Old Firm derbies. Philip Clement can't win Old Firm derbies. Well, he won his last one in charge of us, and he was very unlucky in his second last one in charge of us. Unlucky to the point where the SFA had to come out and admit that it wasn't bad luck, it was just bad practice. And that's us 1-2 in a row against them. Now it's us that are getting every kind of win against Celtic. It's only 2 in a row. I can get carried away there, but Brendan is also stalked by a kind of undertow of resentment for leaving Celtic once, and it won't take much to reignite that resentment. Stuff like this today will do it. It'll take a flamethrower to the kind of kindling that's there already amongst the Celtic support to have an absolute rage against Brendan Rodgers. I've been to Parkhead. I've been to the main stand at Parkhead. I've sat in it. I've had my seat in there. I've been there at a football match twice in my life. Once it was remember I told you the story about me not being able to get the ticket for Pittodrie when we won the league for the first time in 9 years, and I'd been following us home and away for weeks and what have you, and then I didn't realise that I was in a supporters club, the Stephen Masonic Supporters Club. The club was run out of Masonic Hall, although not everybody in the supporters club, myself included, was a Mason. And it was a Glasgow Cup match was played. The Glasgow Cup was kind of pseudo first team. There was a lot of reserves, but it was technically a first team tournament still then. And we were playing, I think it was Clyde at Firhill in the semi-final. I think it went to penalties. It was a Tuesday night before we went to Pittodrie, but that meant the meeting, usually a Tuesday night, it get moved to the Monday night. So I went along and walked into a Masonic meeting. The Rangers Supporters Club meeting had been, and my name had been drawn out the hat. My name had been drawn out the ballot. It was a ballot for tickets for that game, obviously. I got a ticket, but I wasn't there to pick it up on the night, so that meant you couldn't get it. It got passed on to somebody else. It was devastating when I found out after the game itself, but it meant I got my bit because we won on penalties against Clyde at Firhill that night in the Glasgow Cup semi-final, and we did win the league at Pittodrie on the Saturday. It meant the following Thursday we were playing Celtic in the Glasgow Cup final at Parkhead. So I sat, remember we used to get that bit of the main stand at Park. It's still the same main stand, but they've changed it from benches to bucket seats. But we used to get the whole old terraced Rangers end, and then we'd get a bit of the main stand towards the Rangers end. And so I went in there, me and my mates went in there, I had a pink Lacoste t-shirt on and stuff like that, and it was just any time the Celtic fans made any noise at all, for the first time in our lives, we got to jump up and sing Champion. I mean, I think the jungle was shut. There was about 15,000 there or something like that. And Lex Bailey scored their own goal, and we won 1-0 on the night. But Champion, it's Champion. Every time, and the Celtic fans are singing. They started singing this song. What are they singing? 9 in a row, 9 in a row. And it's like, that's what we need. Celtic fans start to refer to 1967. I've seen a few of that over the last few days since our win against Fenerbahce. That's what we need. That's what we need. When we have to go back to the reserve. They have to go back to their reserves of glory, to the backstops, the things they've done more than us, things they've done better than us historically, rather than the here and now. That's when you know, as a Rangers supporter, that things are going well. They're heading in the right direction when the subject's getting changed to long-term stuff, historical stuff, rather than the immediate. I was also in there, the main stand for Scotland against the Republic of Ireland. I thought it'd be quite appropriate to go to. It was played at Parkhead, Euro 2016 qualifiers, and beat them 1-0. Cracking goal we scored. It was a great night. It was a great game, really intense game, and that was the first time I'd been to Parkhead since it's been completely done up, since they rebuilt the three sides of the stadium to be double decker, all seated, and I still didn't like it. Still didn't like it. Celtic fans were the same going to Ibrox. But I just was kind of depressed just being there at all. Really, to be honest, it's kind of alien to me. But yeah, it was because it's a Scotland game. I got in the main stand quite near the director's box actually. Near that, I realised just a normal ticket through the SFA. It's just like going to see Scotland. And I was sitting there with the 3 double deckers surrounding me. And of course, there is plenty of trickle, isn't there? Plenty of Irish stuff going on at the time, obviously. But I was looking up, this is actually all right. This place it's actually, I get it now. I get why folk love. But I liked it. I was in the jungle for the old Parkhead. I was in the jungle for the 1993 Scottish Cup semi-final. I was in the jungle a couple of times for Scottish Cup semi-finals. But the one against Hearts, we beat them 2-1, and I was right near the middle, and I thought, the view here is fantastic. You get a great view of the park. It felt quite enclosed. Then it wasn't just the big kind of, there's a massive track, and there's lots of distance to the goals when you're stuck in the away end. But that was maybe the first time I'd properly thought, it's quite a good venue. But can I get it now? It's quite. But the only time I ever thought. But there's a third time that I was very near the main stand. When I've told you before, I get marched round the track when I was a young idiot. Not quite sure. Like that's when I talk about young boys putting up banners at Ibrox about woke ideologies and all that. I know what I'm talking about when I say you're just daft and wondering, being led on by folk. But it was the ICF. I was kind of hanging around the fringes. The ICF, not a fighter in any way whatsoever. And we were playing Motherwell at Fir Park, and it got cancelled. So it was in January. We just beaten Celtic at Ibrox New Year. No, the soonest standing in the ball and all that, beating 2-0. This is the first game after it. It was a Saturday. The game got cancelled, so we went to the ICF in the central station. Had the idea, right, the game's off at Fir Park, let's all go to Parkhead and cause trouble, because they were at home at Hamilton Accies, and it was we all went on the Celtic end, and I think somebody started singing the sash or something like that. And police basically saved our lives, but we all thought we were pure hard. So we get marched down onto the track to get taken over to join the Hamilton Accies fans in the Rangers end, the old Rangers end terracing. And you get marched past along the red kind of blaze track and the main stand at Parkhead. The hatred. I've never seen anybody. It was all guys and all that, like running down the front. It wasn't a busy. It actually ended up 8-3. Hamilton Accies scored first. I think it's a record score for a top flight game in the Premier League days, the Premier Division days. So I was there, but we get thrown out before the end. The police again got us out of the stadium so we wouldn't get killed. Well before the end, didn't see all the goals. But when we get marched along the track, and everybody realised we're Rangers supporters, we're singing Happy New Year, because we just beat them in the New Year derby. Like women and all that, just running, just fucking whole guys spitting it. I haven't seen contorted hatred on somebody's face aimed at me since my mum realised I was going to have a happy marriage or something like that. It was bad. It was really it was bad. And I know it'd be the same if you're a Celtic fan at Ibrox. I know we have the same kind of hatred. That kind of affects you. It makes you think, oh God, I'm not actually that bad. It makes you realise I'm not into the whole kind of hating Catholics thing and all that, but you seem to really fucking hate me. But we'd singing the sash and stuff like that, and it's a lot of our songs in those days were basically genocidal. But that I saw that today reprised in what was getting hurled at Barry verbally as he went back down the tunnel at the very end of the game and went into the bowels of the Parkhead main stand for the last time, and that will turn. I've experienced our fans doing it, to Michael Beale last season and getting thrown at Philip Clement this season, and that's going to turn onto Brendan Rodgers. He could be in Ronnie Delia territory now. I've been on the other side of this. We're through our 9 in a row. Celtic sacked the board. Celtic sacked the board era. Our 9 in a row in the 90s, late 80s, through the 90s. Celtic had a decent record at Ibrox. It was at Parkhead. We would go and really consistently do damage, consistently win at Parkhead, no matter what they threw at us. But Ibrox, we'd give them a few pacings, 5-1, 4-1, 3-0 during their 9 in a row. But Celtic, lots of draws and a couple of, they won 2-0 a couple of times. And both clubs would realise in these derbies at Ibrox that neither of us were going away. That was one of the times you didn't, neither of us are going away. Either Old Firm club is never going to go away. It's to be in the main threat to the other one. Now, in those days, Motherwell, Aberdeen, Hearts were all more of a threat to us winning the actual title that particular season, right up until Fergus McCann came in with his plan towards the end of our 9 in a row run. and eventually did end it at 9 in a row. But in terms of long-term dominance of Scottish football, the kind of dominance that we can get is always going to be Rangers or Celtic. So it's great for us to go there today and just remind them we're not going away. That's 2 in a row we've won against Celtic, and we know that no one in the derby is a big thing for both sides of the Old Firm. Gio did this. Gio did this too. The game against Braga, quarter-final Europa League, went to extra time at Ibrox on the Thursday night, goes to Hampden on the Sunday Scottish Cup semi-final, goes a goal down late on to Celtic, beat them 2-1 after extra time. Epic. The buzz you've felt off the massive European tie, the match sharpness, it just goes into the legs and you carry that into the next game and it doesn't scare you. And we've done this, it's a late winner we've scored today. We've gone 2 out, 2 up early doors. Celtic have come back at us. Second half, we're supposed to just be knackered and collapse, and we come back at them and we turn it round again. Monumental, epic, and it feels slightly magic. It feels like this is what Rangers will do. We'll never go away, no matter how much you might want us to. Barry for the job? Nah, not yet. We've wound them up. I think we wound Celtic up today with the music playing and what have you. They're going to come to Ibrox. They've still to come to Ibrox. They might have Callum McGregor back. They'll certainly have a point to prove. They might go back to Ibrox depending on how things go between now and the split and when the split is, what the post-split fixtures are. They might be coming back to Ibrox to actually secure the title at Ibrox. Barry, I don't know, we could get absolutely leathered by Athletic Bilbao as well. But I think at this point in time, Barry played this brilliantly with his players and with the media. His celebrations, as I say, was just him saying, this is what I was telling you. This is what I was telling you. But there's a difference between us knowing what should be done and somebody having the personality, having that Rangers aura, being able to impart it on you. Steven Gerrard had it even though he had never played for Rangers. And Barry's undoubtedly reminded us that we generally do better, especially domestically, when we've got a British manager. We do better domestically anyway, but people who kind of know the club or understand the landscape or revel in the landscape, most of all, he's given us back the pride. He can't have truly meaningful domestic wins anywhere, Barry, in his interim management period, because we're not going for any domestic trophies. We're not going to win any domestic trophies this season. But back, I think in the space of 10 days, he's given us a meaningful, material, actual advancement in a competition that trumps anything Scotland can offer, and a spectacular home. A spectacular win at the home of the Scottish champions and the champions-elect and our deadliest rivals. It is ensured we go close on the table to the Glasgow Hibernians in first than to the Edinburgh Hibernians in third. And he's given us some fun, some epic fun over the last 10 days to make up for the epic boredom and disappointment of much of this season. He's ensured, and Clement played his part, that I get to do 2 straight Old Firm post-match reaction pods on victories. Talking about victories, because so much bloody misery in these derbies over the last 4 years. But it's epic fun to make up for the disappointment of this season, and a lot of the disappointment of this season. A lot of this season's been really boring, and he's given a fantastic day to those ultra loyal 2,000 Bears stuck in that corner of Parkhead from 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that. He's restored the pride and sent out a kind of huge reminder of who we are, no matter what happens next. Thanks, Barry. What seems like even a shite Rangers team should be able to do versus Celtic, its standards. He's reminded this is I was supporting Rangers in the early to mid 80s when Ali McCoist would score against Celtic after like 24 seconds, 27 seconds at Parkhead. In his Old Firm debut, I think that was for Ali, indicative maybe of what he was going to do against Celtic throughout his career. But we get beat 2-1. But we're laying down the marker. We're up for it. We knew who we were playing. We knew what this was about. And I think Barry has reminded me we might be miles off it in terms of winning the league this season, and we've embarrassed ourselves in the Scottish Cup. But this is what we do. Every Rangers team should be able to do to Celtic what those Celtic teams of our 9 in a row were able to do when they came to Ibrox. He's talked since he arrived about character, and Barry's got it in spades. So much that I think he's got spare. He's got spare character that he's able to impart on our team very generously. A very liberal sprinkling of character that Barry is able to give out and put into the team. It's almost like he's got a kind of big bottle full a character, maybe like a plastic bottle that's a bit squeezy, and he's spraying the character all over the team and all over everybody. International break pool party troops, suds up, and everybody of all faiths, whether you're a candy stripe or a Linfield type, from your fellow Celt, have a very happy St. Patrick's Day. A painted face, and I know we haven't long. We thought that we had the answers. It was the questions we had wrong. We don't walk away, we don't walk away. We follow